What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you've been thinking about starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur, or finally turning that idea in your head into something real, this is the video for you. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for that perfect time to start their business. The reality is, most successful businesses didn't start perfectly. They started small, they adapted with the market, and they grew over time. So, in this episode, I wanted to walk you through the 4 major things you need to think about before starting a business. And that really includes choosing the right industry, if you need a physical location or if you could start it online, understanding your pricing and profit margins, and finally, giving yourself enough time to grow. So, let's get into it. So, what qualifies me to tell you what you need to consider when starting a business? I'm Jake Tobin, and I'm a licensed business broker at Transworld Business Advisors, and I help business owners navigating exits, growth decisions, succession planning, and acquisitions. Let me tell you how most owners are able to grow successful businesses. Number 1, you need to choose the right business for you. I do think most people struggle with determining the right business for them because they're chasing the idea of starting a business that makes the most amount of money. But oftentimes, these business ideas require certain skill sets, licenses, or certifications. What you should be asking yourself is, what's the business idea that fits your skill set, your lifestyle, and your financial capability? If your skills and interests align with cooking or creating unique recipes or baking, why would you consider starting a car detailing business? And that does not mean that you can't expand your horizons and do the necessary research for a business idea you are passionate about, but that requires you to be passionate to learn and gain the necessary skills to be successful. Passionate enough to get the necessary licenses and passionate enough to get the permits or anything else related to that industry. You also need to consider the startup cost of your business idea. Some businesses can be done with a laptop and Wi-Fi at a Starbucks, but others will need equipment, insurance, vehicles, or commercial space, which can become expensive very quickly. So again, consider your current skills and interests because you may already have an advantage in that industry without realizing it. Consider the amount of money you want to invest because the idea of starting a business with no money is just not realistic. Whether you need supplies, transportation, inventory, your own time, there's cost in every business type. A lot of successful businesses are started by people who simply took the skills they already had from one job and built something themselves. Number 2, location. Is this an online business or will there be a physical location? A lot of new entrepreneurs immediately think, I need a storefront. But in today's world, that's not always true. For instance, an e-commerce or service-based business can often be started with a significantly lower overhead. And that matters in the beginning because lower expenses gives you more flexibility while you're growing. For example, you can sell products online, you can offer services through social media, you can build your own website using platforms like Shopify, Etsy, or even TikTok, or you market yourself through Instagram and Facebook. And if you do sell physical products, get creative before signing a long-term lease. Maybe you decide to sell at a local farmer's market, you rent a booth at a community event, partner with local community businesses, go door to door, pop-up shops, or test the market before committing to a storefront. This is one of the smartest things you can do as a new entrepreneur. Validate demand before taking on major expenses. Because commercial leases, build-outs, and overhead can add pressure fast. A lot of people fail not because their products were bad, but because their expenses became too high too early. And honestly, some of the best businesses today are mobile or flexible businesses. Think about it. Pressure washing, content creation, online coaching, event services, home cleaning, and mobile food vendors. Many of those businesses can be started small. Usually, the owner still has their 9 to 5 in the beginning and they scale it over time. The goal in the beginning isn't to look big, the goal is to become profitable. Number three, you need to understand your profit margins. A lot of new entrepreneurs underprice themselves because they're afraid customers won't buy. But if your pricing doesn't make sense financially, eventually the business becomes unsustainable. At a minimum, you need to cover your cost of goods and expenses. You need to look at things like your inventory, supplies, packaging, software. But here's where many people forget or don't feel comfortable charging for. You need to account for your time. Your time has a value. If you're spending 10 hours creating something and only making a tiny profit, eventually you'll get burnt out. And this becomes even more important when you want to scale, because one day you may need to hire employees, outsource work, buy more inventory, or invest in your marketing. If your margins are too thin, growth becomes difficult. One thing I always recommend is understanding the difference between revenue and profit. Just because a business brings in a lot of sales doesn't mean it's making money. A business doing $1 million a year with terrible margins may actually be less profitable than a lean business doing half that amount. So when pricing your products or services, know your numbers, understand your expenses, and make sure the business actually works financially. Because profit is what keeps the business alive. Last part, give yourself some time to grow. You need to be patient. Most businesses do not explode overnight. It takes time to build a brand, build a customer base, and determine marketing tactics that work for your business. So many people will quit because they're expecting an instant success or profitability, or people will start to compare their business stories to what they see online. You need to remember that only a small percentage of business stories will ever go viral. And a lot of times, their business type and model are not even similar to what you want to accomplish, but you find yourself comparing your success to theirs. And you just simply can't do that. In the early stages of business ownership, you need to focus on consistency, customer service, your product quality, your marketing, and your personal goals. And that requires you to give yourself time. And remember, even if your business starts small, that doesn't mean it will always stay small. Some of the biggest companies today were started in garages, home offices, on folding tables, or as a side hustle. The key is staying consistent long enough to grow. So if you're thinking about starting a business, I hope you remember this video. Starting a business is not easy, but if you have the passion, you have the idea and the drive, it's not impossible. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below what kind of business you have always wanted to start. Stay tuned for more insights from inside the industry.